Is the upcoming Chuan Park launch worth the hype and the wait? In this video, we'll be discussing the pros as well as the risks you need to consider before deciding if this is a good investment choice for you. Now, Chuan Park is an en-bloc development that is right next to Lorong Chuan MRT, one of the largest in the area, and is estimated to launch with 900 units of 2 to 5 bedrooms. We'll be looking at 3 crucial factors: supply, the price gap with other property types in the area, as well as competition from incoming developments. Which brings us to our first point, supply. Now, a quick overview of the area, we can see that this is a largely HDB and landed dominant estate, with condos having the lowest supply. Now, if you take a closer look at the condos, most of them were built prior to 2010, with the youngest being Scala in 2013, which means that for a long time there have been no new supply of condos in this area. So how will this affect future prices? To understand, let's look at another recent TOP project that is surrounded by a similar residential mix, Jadescape. Now, Jadescape is surrounded by older HDBs, a few older condos, as well as a large landed estate. So how did they do in the resale market? We can see that transactions are very healthy, with 129 profitable transactions that range from average 400k all the way to above $1 million in profit and 0 unprofitable transactions. What does the surrounding supply have to do with this? Now, a large contributing factor is the huge pent-up demand. Now, for a long time, anyone that wanted to buy a new condo had no options for this area. So if you think about the parents that are staying nearby in the older HDBs and the landed, would they want to move? It is highly unlikely because they are probably in their retirement home. But for their children that wanted to stay nearby, prior to Jadescape, the only 2 options they had was to move further out or accept an older condo. So Jadescape was a much needed and welcome addition to the area, and we can see this evidently in its growth since launch of 30%. Now with Chuan Park, it is likely we'll see the same pent-up demand that is supported with the same scenario. Another key indicator that there is pent-up demand for an area is the resale transactions, where not just the first hand, but those that bought later on should still be making healthy profit. So let's look at the newest and oldest. Now let's look at Scala. Yes, the first-hand owners did make a healthy profit, but what's worth also noting is those that bought later on are still making a few $100,000 in profit. Now let's look at Emeranda Gardens, which is older, 20 years old. The demand is consistent, and we can see that those who bought even just 3 years ago is able to make 760k in profit. So from these examples, we can see that there is demand to support growth in this area. Moving on to the second factor, the risk of Chuan Park's prices being too close to the landed nearby, such that it deters buyers. Now, being on the ground in certain other districts where the condos and landed prices have overlapped, we often hear this sentiment from buyers of, why should I go for the condo where I just need to up my budget a bit to get the landed? Now, wouldn't you feel the same in that scenario? So how do we determine if these 2 categories, the price gap is safe? Especially for where Chuan Park is located, which is next to a huge landed estate, and not only that, is located in D19, which has year after year been the most popular landed district with the highest volumes of transaction. The break-even for Chuan Park, including construction, legal, marketing, is about 2,229 per square foot. So if we assume a 20% profit margin, that brings the launch price to about 2,600 per square foot. So for a larger layout of 1,400 square feet, that would mean the price is about 3.64 million. So let's see what we can get for landed in the area at that price. So from our search, we can see there are only 4 results, most of which are older ones that need more cash outlay to be redone or are strata. Based on our research, to get options that don't require major reno or are new, you'll be looking at least 5 to 6 million. So this brings the price gap between the estimated launch price and landed to at least 2.3 million, which is a huge jump for most buyers looking to further stretch their budget. So this tells us that there's a wide enough gap and a safety net such that landed and condo buyers here are mutually exclusive, and there is still room to further appreciate in the future. Lastly, just last month, it came out in the news that a new site will be launching at Lorong Chuan under the government land sale program, just 10 minutes walk away from Chuan Park. Now put yourselves in the shoes of future resale buyers here. Would you consider both? Now naturally, but that begs the question, is this incoming competition going to negatively affect prices of Chuan Park in the future. Both are potentially large developments, but one key factor sets them apart. Now, Chuan Park is an en bloc and does not fall under the new harmonization or floor plan ruling, whereas the upcoming Chuan Grove site is under GLS and will need to comply to these new rulings. So what is the difference? In September 2022, URA announced changes in how certain spaces within a strata floor plan will be measured and defined, which ultimately meant there is now less space within a unit that developers can charge. To not keep this video too long, I've included the link in description on URA's site so you can read in more details if you wish. Let's look at an area with harmonization and non-harmonization developments and see how layouts were impacted. Lentor Hills Residence is pre-harmonization changes and Lentor Mansion is post. Let's have a look at their 2-bedroom layouts. Now for Lentor Hill, it has quite a market standard size, which is 678 to 764 square feet. Whereas Lentor Mansion, subjected to the changes, the living space, though similar to Lentor Hill, but having reduced certain areas such as the aircon ledges, it resulted in an overall smaller size ranging from 527 to 657 square feet for a 2-bedroom. Assuming a similar size difference at the two upcoming sites, if the Chuan Grove developer wants to sell at a similar quantum to Chuan Park, having an overall smaller square feet, they have no choice but to price their units at a higher PSF. While in the market, many buyers are still not familiar with the ins and outs of the changes in harmonization. This may prove to deter more PSF-sensitive buyers. So imagine in the future if you hop onto a property portal and you see a unit for each of these developments at similar price, but the one at Chuan Park looks bigger in square foot and lower in PSF. Naturally, you will gravitate to view that first. Of course, there are still a lot of factors up in the air as the Chuan Grove site is not released for bidding until the end of the year. So for those considering Chuan Park, it will be more advisable to consider these two factors in order to have a safe entry. Understanding the developer's pricing strategy and how they can increase prices in different phases that they are in. I've recently done a video in more detail about this, so you can have a look at that, and knowing this will help you spot more value units that have more potential for growth, especially in a mega development like this. Now, the second factor would be to go for unit types that have more evergreen demand in this location and choose layouts that tend to perform better in the resale market. We have come to the end of this pre-launch review. It's important to note that while the information we do have right now allows us to assess the development on a macro level, even the best condos have certain unit types that do better than others. And for that, we'll need to look at the micro details like the price difference between different unit types, different stacks, and the differences in layouts. So to be the first to see my official launch review, subscribe to this channel, and to join the live chat where I share new information directly from the developer, you can drop a message to this number. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you all next time.